What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Eclectic Beard Gaming Reactions. This go around, good buddy Pete, he's took and made another video for us to look at, so that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, this go around is Tintern Abbey. So yeah, let's go on ahead. Before we go any further, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and notification bell. Well, let's go on ahead and get into it.
I'm now down in Tintern, and the river we're looking at is the River Wye, which forms the border between England and Wales. So, Wales? England. So we're that close. The River Wye is a tidal river, and it flows out into the Severn Estuary and then out into the Bristol Channel. So obviously at the
Don't know why it was that low, but rectify that situation.
moment, with the water going that way, the tide's going out, and then twice a day it will reverse and go back the other way. Might be able to get an idea of the sort of tidal range that you can get here by the sort of mud on the banks.
Oh wow.
Now, with that being England, and we're in this valley, along the top of this ridge runs what is known as Offa's Dyke. Now, this side we have Wales, England. Now, at the time of the Saxons, that was governed by King Offa, the King of Mercia. What he effectively did is built a big boundary ditch the whole length of the border between England and Wales. Not necessarily to keep the Welsh out, because it really served no what I would class as defensive facility, but it was basically a ditch, drawing a line in the sand to say, right, this is us, we're the Saxons on this side, you're the Welsh on that side, that's the boundary of our land, don't cross it. Now, interestingly, what's the origin of the term Wales? Wales is actually Anglo-Saxon, and in Anglo-Saxon times it would have been Wales. What that means, and this is absolutely fantastic, Wales is Anglo-Saxon for over there. So the Saxons referring to the Welsh as over there, Wales.
That's pretty cool. Number one, knowing that, you know, built a ditch, but that the actual Anglo-Saxon meaning of Wales or Wales is over there. And basically he built a ditch to keep them over there, is what it seems like. That's pretty cool.
Now, the Welsh, that in Welsh is Cymru, is Wales, and Welsh is Cymraeg. Cymru means comrade. Cymraeg means comrades. So in Welsh, yep, we're all comrades, and the Saxons are the people over there, Wales. So a bit of history on the origins of the Welsh name. So if I pan around, as you can see, beautiful valley.
Pete, I'm gonna tell you right now, I appreciate that bit of history, because I didn't realize that, did not know that whatsoever, and I'm wondering how many of the people that view this will know that. That's interesting bit of history, though. Thank you.
Again, a little bit hazy today, but then as I pan around, the clues there.
Oh,
there
wow.
is Tintern Abbey. Let's go and have a look at Tintern Abbey. Now, Tintern Abbey was built by Cistercian monks, who are the white monks, so they wore white robes. Originated in the north of France, and then they spread out. And obviously when they came to this country, they were looking for a good place to build an abbey. The Cistercians, not they're antisocial, but they liked peace and quiet and not to be bothered. So within this valley, they found that peace and quiet. So that's why they settled here. And they built this fantastic abbey. It was begun, commencement of works was in 1131. So it's just gone behind a wall, so let's keep going up here. Ordinarily, I could take you inside and give you a tour of it, because I'm a member of CADW, C-A-D-W, which is the Welsh the Welsh Preservation Society, but of course it's locked down, so we can't enter. So I'll just give you, what should I call it, a brief outline tour of the Abbey. So, why is it in the state it's in? Good old, or shall I say bad old, King Henry VIII. So, one of our most renowned kings, but in my opinion, an absolute twat. Not a very...
That's funny. That's hilarious. Absolute. That's okay. So he was a twat. All right, cool. I'm gonna say this. This is still, regardless of the state of disrepair that it might be in, it's just beautiful to see the facade of it, because that's still something that stood for centuries. Like that's very impressive, regardless.
Very pleasant guy at all, 6 wives, lots of killings of them, etc. So, King Henry VIII comes to power, and what there is he's not happy because the church is all powerful. In fact, the church is as powerful, if not more powerful, than King Henry VIII.
Back in those times, until he told the Catholic Church that you're out, kind of like, in a baseball umpire, you're out, and basically, started the Anglican Church. Oh no, they were more powerful. They held sway in all of Europe. That I do know about the history back then. They were the end all be all for most countries in the matters, and it doesn't matter what it was: marriage, politics, alliances, and things of that nature. Like, they held way too much sway.
The church is as powerful, if not more powerful, than King Henry VIII. So he has to come up with a practical solution. His practical solution is to create a decree which is called the dissolution of the monasteries. That in effect meant all the monasteries, they were stripped of the lead on their roofs, all their material wealth inside was all stripped out. King Henry VIII creates his own church, which is the Church of England, and makes himself the head of his own church. So across the UK, all these wonderful abbeys fell into ruin. Let's zoom in, we can just see what's...
That's awful. That's awful that that's the case, because, golly, man, just the outer facade, even without the roofs and everything, the outer facade of this is so cool.
Just get into the centre of the abbey.
All the inner columns on there, man.
Yeah, you can see the stone pillars. At the far end, you've got the altar. So, yeah, if I look at stonework, you can see it in a bit more detail.
Yeah, it's craftsmanship.
Imagine the size of this, a stained glass window at either end. Absolutely fantastic. Now, you can probably hear a car coming. Sure enough, there it is. That road is a modern road. That was built in Victorian times, when this became basically a tourist area. Originally, the access to the abbey would be down a track, which is still there, you can go up and down it. A track which brings you down, obviously, to the abbey level. And then there would have been a curtain wall that ran, part of it still remains, around the abbey to form an enclosure. Now, what we're looking at over here are accommodation for people that actually aren't monks within the abbey. Also, an abbey has to be supplied with immense amounts of material, food, etc., to feed all the people within the abbey. About 2 miles from here is a place called Trellick Grange. Now, a grange is a farmstead for an abbey. The bit I always find lovely and fascinating is the people that worked in the grange and outside of the abbey, e.g. within this sort of accommodation area here, they're called lay brothers, because obviously they're not part of the monastery itself, they're not a monk, and they're working on the land. That's the origins of the term labourer. So farm labourer, building labourer, somebody that does manual work.
That makes sense. That's like them being... Okay, so a little bit of backstory on me. I took in from my high school years, actually from about fifth grade on, fifth grade to seventh grade, I was homeschooled. I took and grew up in a first we were Church of Christ and Baptist household, but I went to public school up until fifth grade. Fifth grade to seventh grade, I was taken and homeschooled. From seventh grade to 12th grade, I went to a Christian private school. Now, the curriculum that we use is Abeka. Abeka is made by Pensacola Christian Academy down in Pensacola, Florida. Very King James only, but also very thorough with a lot of the stuff they take and teach. I don't care what the subject is; they're very thorough with a lot of things. History was my favorite subject in school, and King Henry was like until the like 1800s. Like he was one of the only kings in Europe that basically told the Catholic Church to go f themselves and booted them out. And it was like, no, we don't want you. I'm starting my own gig because you won't take it. Allow me to get a divorce for like the 400th time. It's just the way it seems. He had a lot of wives. I know I'm off my calculations, so sue me. My apologies. But no, it was between Catherine and one of the other ones, if I'm not mistaken, where he took and was trying to take and do the. He was wanting the divorce after. I think maybe it was the fifth because he had like four divorces beforehand or something, four wives beforehand. And was trying to get the male heir, uh, all females up to that point, and the wife lived through the childbirth or whatever, and yeah, the Pope was like, nah, you can't get divorced, and he's like, you know what, the heck would you get out? So yeah, also, but as far as church history goes, a layman is somebody basically you've got your pastors, your deacons, or whatever, but a lay person, a layman, would be somebody who just kind of works to take and isn't the pastor, but still takes and does work to help further the church's cause. So a lay brother or whatever, and that being the term of where laborer comes from, that's actually pretty cool. But it also really ties into a lot of that's really stinking interesting in my opinion.
Their name, labourer, derives from a lay brother. So just pan around again. Give you another little view from this perspective. So really what we're looking at here is all the sort of the religious functionality element of the abbey. Let's zoom out a bit so we get a better view. So coming back to where we were. In summer, on a hot summer's day, fantastic. No better place to have a picnic. Sit in the grounds. You've got birds singing. You've got the river. You've got all the beautiful trees and scenery. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, the areas we're looking at now are the functional part of the abbey. So you're going to have kitchen areas. I believe that's a refectory where you would dine. There's a kitchen area around here. There's an infirmary on the other side, so any monks that get sick, it's put into an infirmary. And then obviously they need somewhere to sleep. So you'd also have. Let's come around here.
Just real quick, just looking at how far back the stone walls go shows just. I mean, this was a massive, massive spot, and it's crazy to take and see. Even with it, the state of the way everything is, still be able to take and see the general layout of this of where things were in this abbey. Like it's absolutely it's gorgeous regardless of it being half there because the roof and a lot of the walls being gone, and It's just, it's, dude, thank you so much for this.
You'd also have accommodation themselves for the monks. If I could get inside the main abbey, which obviously I can't, there's what are known as the night steps. Now the night steps, I can't get to it from here. Or can I? Hold on. Yeah. The night steps go in to this wall just behind here, and what they are for prayers that happen at about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And there's a big series of steps that then lead down into the abbey, so the monks will be living on a level up here, well, sleeping with whatever sleep they get, and then boom, bell goes off. All right, 2 o'clock, morning prayers. Off they go into the abbey, down the night steps, and then do their prayers and carry out their service. And then, I suppose, go back to bed for a couple of hours and then wake up, breakfast, and start the day. So it's a shame, real shame I can't get inside. But that's the beauty of Tintern Abbey. I always refer to her as an old lady because, I don't know, obviously she's old and she's very, very graceful.
I agree.
Truest thing of all.
Still.
If you come down the road from this direction, you come around a bend, you're basically driving down a valley, it's absolutely scenic, and then out of the blue, you come around a bend, bang, you've got this fantastic abbey in front of you. If it's not awesome, I don't know what is.
I completely agree. I can only imagine how awesome it is to see that as you're taking it coming around. Just seeing it on camera as you've taken it, laid it out for us. It's beautiful still. Even with the state that it's in, you can see how majestic of a place that would have looked. You see how massive it was. And the fact that there's still, looks like, other than the roof, pretty intact spots of it, like where you're showing the night steps where they take and go in and they sleep and stuff like that and then come back down. Like, it's, number one, so big, but number two, it's still with the outer walls, with the brickwork and everything else, and the added details, absolutely gorgeous, just beautiful. So, and the history that you took and put within each portion of what you were talking about, the way, dude, you're awesome. Thank you so much. Got another one we're going to be taking a look at that Pete's done. Tintern Ironworks. I will take a look at that in the next day or two. Check him out. I don't think he's intending for his channel to actually get subscribers, but you really need to you really need to go to some different places and make videos and talk on them. I believe, and narrate what you're looking at, because the historical flavor that you take and give as you're pointing out and you're describing what you're looking at, dude, you're bar none one of the. I could listen to. You could have had 15, 20 videos. You could have 100 videos on your channel, and I'd watch every one of them just because you do such a fantastic job. So thank you very much for this. Y'all be good to each other. Love yourselves. Peace.